biography of T.S. Eliot. Early life. Thomas Stearns Eliot, more commonly known as T.S. Eliot, was born on September 26, 1888, in St. Louis, Missouri. Eliot was born with a congenital double inguinal hernia, preventing him from interacting with others in any physical way, such as with sports. Due to this, Eliot formed a fondness for literature, as he was isolated from people most of his days and needed a way to entertain himself. Eliot especially loved literature about the West and Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer. Education. Eliot attended 3 academies in his life. First was the Smith Academy, where he studied several languages, as well as began creating poetry. After which, he attended Milton Academy for a year for preparation for his final education, Harvard University. For 3 years, Eliot studied philosophy in Harvard and was greatly influenced by his professors, though Eliot only studied there for 3 years, not 4. Poetry. The first poem Eliot created that gave him recognition was the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, appearing in Poetry in 1915. 2 years later, he created his first poetry book, Prufrock and Other Observations. This book marked Eliot as one of the most talented poets of his time. Eliot had 2 poems that made him especially stand out among all other poets. Firstly, being the poem Dronchen, found inside his second book called Poems, which was released in 1919. This poem stood out because of its use of blank verse interior monologue, which until then had never been used before. His second monumental poem, widely believed to be the most influential poem of the 20th century, was called The Wasteland. Wasteland was published in 1922 and is about an in-depth analysis about what a post-World War would look like. Throughout the rest of his life, Eliot did many other great things, such as founded the literary journal known as Criterion, joined the publishing house Faber and Faber, and made many more poems such as Ash Wednesday, 4 Quartets, and After Strange Gods. Eventually, Eliot died in London, England in 1965 after succumbing to emphysema. Question number 1. What condition was Eliot born with? Question number 2. What was Eliot's favorite type of literature? Question 3. What did Eliot start making in Smith Academy? Question 4. How many years did Eliot attend Harvard University? Question 5. What was the first poem Eliot wrote that gave him recognition as a poet? Question 6. What 2 poems made Eliot especially stand out among other poets of his time? Question 7. What literary device did Eliot create in his poem Dronchen? Question 8. What poem of Eliot's is considered to be one of the most influential of the 20th century? Answers. Number 1. Conventional double hernia. Number 2. Western. Number 3. Poetry. Number 4. 3 Years. Number 5. The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Number 6. Dronchen in the Wasteland. Number 7. Blank Verse. And number 8. Wasteland.
Macavity's a mystery cat. He is called the hidden paw, for he is the master criminal who can defy the law. He is the bafflement of Scotland Yard, the flying squad's despair. For when they reach the scene of crime, Macavity is not there. Macavity, Macavity, there is no one like Macavity. He has broken every human law, He breaks the law of gravity. His powers of levitation would make a fakir stare. And when you reach the scene of crime, Macavity is not there. You may seek him in the basement. You may look up in the air. But I tell you once and once again, Macavity is not there. Macavity is a ginger cat. He is very tall and thin. You would know him if you saw him, for his eyes are sunken in. His brow is deeply lined with thought, his head is highly domed. His coat is dusty from neglect, his whiskers are uncombed. He sways his head from side to side with movements like a snake. And when you think he is half asleep, he is always wide awake. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity, for he is a fiend and felon shape, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a by street, you may see him in the square, but when a crime discovered, then Macavity is not there. He is outwardly respectable. They say he cheats at cards, and his footprints are not found in any file of Scotland yards. And when the ladder's looted, or the jewel case is rifled, or when the milk is missing, or another pig's being stifled, or the greenhouse glass is broken, and the trellis past repair, hey, there's the wonder of the thing. Macavity is not there. And when the Foreign Office find a treaty gone astray, or the Admiralty lose some plans and drawings by the way, there may be a scrap of paper in the hall or on the stair, but it isn't useless to investigate. Macavity is not there. And when the loss has been disclosed, the Secret Service say it must have been Macavity, but he is a mile away. You'll be sure to find him resting, or a licking of his thumbs, or engaged in doing complicated long division sums. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity. There never was a cat of such deceitfulness and suavity. He always has an alibi and one or two to spare. At whatever time the deed took place, Macavity wasn't there, and they say that all the cats who wicked deeds are widely known. I might mention Munkochiri, I might mention Girdlebone, are nothing more than agents for the cat who all the time just controls their operations. The Napoleon of crime.